Okay, so we're going to make Victoria sandwich today and some cheese scones. So I've got 200 grams of butter, I've got 4 eggs, I've got 200 grams of flour, that's just plain flour with 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 200 grams of sugar. So first of all, I'm going to cream my butter and sugar together until they are white and fluffy. So we're just going to use a wooden spoon. What we're wanting is a nice white creamy consistency, all right, before we add the egg. So your eggs are going to be beaten and then they would be added gradually to the mix. So this can be done on a hand whisk, a machine. So you can see now that the consistency is quite white and creamy. So as you're adding your egg, it will appear to become a little curdled, but don't worry about that. It will come back together as you start to add your flour. Okay, so once all of your egg is incorporated, we will then sieve in your flour and your baking powder. And first you're going to just fold that into your mix. So the batter mix is starting to form, and then we will gradually incorporate the remainder of the flour. You can see that we've got a nice creamy batter again. The flour has all been incorporated into the mix. I'm going to split my mix between the 2 greased and lined sandwich tins. So I'm going to spread that out to make it nice and even. And then they're going to go into the oven at 180 for about 15 to 18 minutes. So for this recipe, we've got 500 grams of flour, we've got salt and pepper, some mustard, 2 eggs, butter and some cheese there. So first of all, we're going to sieve the flour. To that flour, I'm just going to put a bit of salt and pepper, a bit of mustard powder, and our butter. So with our hands, we're just going to rub the butter into the flour. So if you was going to make plain scones, you would obviously omit the mustard powder and the cheese, and you could add some sugar to that mix and some sultanas if required. So to bring this mix together, we will use the 2 eggs that have been beaten. So as and when you feel that it's mixed together, if you just give your bowl a little shake, any lumps would rise to the surface, and then you continue to mix those in. So what you're wanting is a breadcrumb-like consistency. So with your cheese, when you add that, you'll save some just to sprinkle on top, so it gives that nice appearance at the end. And also use a bit of cayenne pepper just to give it another little punch of flavour. Okay, so all the lumps are now out. I can add some of my cheese. I've got milk and egg that I'm going to mix together, and I'm going to use this using my hand like a paddle. Mix this gently together. You do not want to overwork your scone mix. So I'm going to make a well. So it's gradually becoming coming together into a nice smooth dough. Okay. So it's now come together into a nice dough, and we're going to put it onto our table that's been just slightly dredged with some flour, just to stop it from sticking. Our scones is really about 1 inch, or you could say the distance between your knuckle and the top of your thumb. All right, so the choice is yours. So if you put some flour on your cutter before you put it into your dough, then you can just press straight in and out. Reform the dough and then re-roll it to the thickness required. We're just going to put some cheese on the top. If you were making sweet scones, then you would egg wash them before they went into the oven. Then we're just going to finish with a little paprika, just to add that little punch of flavour. Then they would go into the oven for 15 minutes, again between 180 and 200 depending on your cooker. So what we're going to do is just test to see if they're cooked. So you can either press with your finger. If they spring back, that's a good indication, or you can put a little skewer in, and if that comes out clean, then that's a good indication that it's cooked. Turn them out. Now just ease them out of the tins. And what we're going to do is just allow that to cool. So as you can see there, we've got a nice, light, airy and fluffy sponge. So once cooled, we could fill that with double cream that's had a bit of vanilla and sugar. You could put some strawberries in it, some lemon curd. Sandwich it together and then just dredge it with some caster sugar or some icing sugar. Yum yum. Now our cheese scones, they've been in the oven for about 15 minutes. Lovely texture, nice golden colour. So what we're going to do now is just take those off the tray, put them onto a cooling rack and allow them to cool down. Okay, so we've now, these have had an adequate amount of time to cool down, so we're going to fill it with jam and cream. So the jam has been mixed together just to make it spreadable, otherwise you'll find when you put it onto your sandwiches that it breaks the sponge. Using a palette knife. Finish it with some whipped cream. So the whipped cream has been flavoured with vanilla, or you could just add some icing sugar to it. Pop the lid on. Dredge it with some caster sugar. In preparation for your celebration for the Queen's Jubilee, we have some lovely cheese scones that have been finished off with some cayenne pepper, and a plain Victoria sandwich, and some lovely frozen berries there. So in less than 45 minutes really, this is what you can produce.